Hello, and welcome to Real, the unedited life of a Christian woman. I'm so glad you're here. Today, I want to talk to you all about something that has been on my mind for the last few weeks. It's kind of an odd idea, the idea of glowing up at the age of 43. It sounds kind of different. Normally, you hear about glowing up around the age of, like, I don't know, 15, 16, I don't know, something like that. But I recently had the idea. I have braces right now. I thought, you know what? Let's do a glow up at the age of 43. I've made some changes in my life. I thought now would be a good time to kind of document this on social media. It's probably been over the last 1 to 2 months I've made some changes, and I have braces right now, and that's fun at the age of 43. I have them at the same time as my 14-year-old, and we literally got them on the same day. So the idea of glowing up at the age of 43. So if you guys are interested in this, I encourage you to follow me on my socials. I'm on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook, and on YouTube. But I wanted to kind of talk today about how this is going to work, what I'm going to cover, and a little bit of the things that I'm going to touch on as we go throughout. I'm going to make it like a year long process of a glow up and just things that I incorporate throughout this year. And it's not only going to be like when you think of a glow up, you think of a physical glow up, right? Like she's gonna change her appearance. She's gonna go from, this to that. It's gonna be like a physical change. I'm not talking about just a physical change, ladies. I'm talking about a glow up spiritually and a glow up financially, as well as a glow up physically. So it's going to take those three aspects and work on those things throughout the year. We're going to document where we are today and where we want to be a year from now, or where we are a year from now. So I've already been doing some things, like I said, for the last couple months. I got braces back in July. It was the very end of July. I've always been someone that works out, though I would say it is not regularly. I will go through spells in my life where I do really good, and then I'll miss a month or 2, and then I'll get back into it, and then something will happen, and I'll miss again. So, overall, I would say over the past 10 years, I'd say, worked out more than I haven't on, a 2 to 3 times per week, sometimes better than others basis. But it's always been something that I've wanted to do more of and do it regularly and make it part of my lifestyle. And somehow I end up failing in that. And I know that's life, but I want to be someone who makes it a habit in my life. And especially as I'm aging, because ladies, as we get older, I'm 43 now. At the age of 30, we're going to notice things starting to happen with aging. Okay. It's a physical, it's a health thing. It happens to everybody. Okay. Around the age of 30, you have peaked as far as your youth goes, and things start to go downhill. It's just natural. So, from about the age of 30 to 40, at least for me, it wasn't terrible. Like, I could see little changes here and there as far as aging goes physically, a few aches and pains here and there. Things don't work quite as well as they used to, but nothing dramatic. Okay. But when I started going through perimenopause, things changed more dramatically for me. And I could see a lot of changes. And I can see how if I don't make some serious habitual changes, my habits, then I'm going to end up like the women I used to see in the medical setting, in clinical practice, in office for appointments. There's a huge difference, ladies, in somebody who comes in. Ask any medical provider out there, and they will tell you. You can look at a 60-year-old person, a 60-year-old woman, for example, who has had good habits in her life and has had a healthy diet, has chose to exercise regularly, who has been good to herself physically, even mentally, has had a good balance of things in her life. You can look at her versus someone who has not. Okay, let's say a smoker, someone who does not work out, who has had a very stressful life. It may not even be, we all have choices to make, but life has circumstances, and maybe her circumstances weren't as good as the other person's. Things happen. But you take a look at both of these people being 60 years old. They may look 20 years difference in age. I'm not kidding. You can see such a huge difference. So when I think about the choices I make at around age 30, 40, 45, 50, those are going to shape dramatically the way I look and feel when I am 50, 60, 70, 80 years old. I want to incorporate these habits now so that when I get to that point in my life, I can play with my grandchildren on the floor. I can shop with my children. I can cook. Not that I cook that well anyway, but I can help bake Christmas cookies in the kitchen. Like, I'm not aching. I'm not hurting. And we can't control all of the circumstances in our life. I mean, who knows? We can have a cancer diagnosis. We could have an accident. All of those things can happen. But what I can control is what I'm doing on a daily basis. And for me, I want those habits to start now. Okay. So we've got braces going on. I've been working out 5 days a week. Monday through Friday, I've been doing a 30-minute Peloton workout. I have had a Peloton since 2017, I think 2018. Same Peloton. I love it. It's what works for me. It sits beside my bed. I get up in the mornings. I do a Peloton workout. It's cycling. I just like that. It's easy on my joints. So for me, that's what I've been doing. Um, I have also been reading a book called Atomic Habits. Atomic Habits. Wonderful book, exceptional New York Times bestseller. James Cleary is the author. If you have not read that book, you need to. We're going to be talking more about that. I have a supplement routine now. I love the Galveston diet, Dr. Mary Claire Haver. I love what she does. I love what she believes in. I think it's a very good approach for most women to perimenopause and menopause. But she's got a lot of ideas as far as supplementation goes. She's an OBGYN. And so I've taken some of her advice, and I'm on a supplement routine now, and we'll talk more about that. I'm actually I'm going through perimenopause heavily. So I'm doing hormone replacement therapy. And I had never been one to think that I was going to do that. Okay. My mother had breast cancer. Thankfully, she is clear of that now. But she did go through breast cancer, and she was on hormone replacement for 20 plus years. Now that scared me, right? Because you hear stories. But as a healthcare professional, you have to weigh risks and benefits and quality of life. And I had gotten to a point in my perimenopause journey that it was no longer worth it to me not to do anything. My quality of life was suffering. 20 plus hot flashes a day, brain fog. I was in misery, to be quite honest. And you have to make a quality of life decision. And some patients are not candidates for hormone replacement therapy. If you have a personal history of estrogen or progesterone receptor positive breast cancer, it's not recommended you take these medications. So there are some people out there that cannot. It's always a conversation to be had between you and your provider, you and your doctor, nurse practitioner, physician assistant, those things. Okay. Skincare. Another thing I started at the age of 40 was a really good medical grade skincare. It is not cheap what I choose to do, although there are alternatives. Okay. Uh, on TikTok, if you guys what is her name? I cannot think of her name right now. There's this lady on TikTok, and she is amazing as far as, like, dupes and things for expensive skincare that you can get that are, like, literally the same. Um, I'll try to come up with that and post it later. But, I've added some of these things already in my life, but I wanna do more, and I wanna focus on some of this stuff because it's important as we age, right? But like I said, this is not just physical, it is spiritual and financial as well. I also wanna glow up spiritually. I want to maintain a habit of daily Bible reading, daily prayer life. That is so important to me because if we don't get our priorities straight, our life isn't going to make sense. I will tell you, any time in my life that I incorporate Bible reading, Bible study, devotion to God, consistent prayer life, my life feels so much better. It feels organized, it feels in line, it feels like I'm putting God first when I'm involved in church, when I am attending regularly. Those things are all important for me. So I am focusing on making that my priority above all else and seeing how that goes over the next year. Okay. And we'll get more into that as well. But this is also a financial glow up. You guys, vulnerability is a strength. Vulnerability is hard. So being honest with you all about my finances is difficult to me because on the outside, I may appear that I have it all together. But let me tell you, we have made some ridiculous financial mistakes. Okay. Some ridiculous ones. We've dug ourselves out of a lot of them, but I also have some to still dig myself out of. Okay. So I'm going to be vulnerable with you all as far as our debt goes, paying it off, and just like really buckling down and getting some of this stuff done. So it's a physical glow up, it's a spiritual glow up, and it is a financial glow up. So if you want to do this with me over this next year, if you want to follow these tips, I mean, I have learned over 20 years of things that I have done wrong to help you avoid those things or get out of those messes. And I'm not perfect, but I can share with you the tips and the tricks and the things that have worked for us and where I struggle. So follow along on this journey. Follow along on my socials on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook Live. Real with Haley is where you can find it. I'm on YouTube as well. And follow along on this podcast. We're going to continually update you as we go along throughout this year. So let's talk about the progress I've had this past week. So I worked out 30 minutes 5 times a week on my Peloton. While I'm on my Peloton, I incorporate my strength training. I kind of get double duty. I like to what we call in the Atomic Habits book, he calls it habit stacking, where you stack one habit on top of another and make it a lot easier for yourself to do. And I've done this for the past 10 years and not even known that I'm habit stacking, but I am. While I am on my Peloton, I will cycle and do my arm strength training at the same time. It works really well for me. I like doing it that way. So that is one thing I incorporate together. The last week, I have actually stuck with my supplementation and my medications every day. This has made such a huge difference, guys. I'm going to be super honest with you all here. And it's probably TMI, but I have my entire life struggled with chronic constipation. Chronic constipation. Like, it doesn't matter what I do, I'm not regular, and it's crazy, and it's uncomfortable at times, and people who don't have it, I think, don't understand it, but it's one of the things that bothers me most about my, like, physical health and just one thing that I guess genetically I'm just predisposed to, it seems. I mean, I've struggled with this since I was a kid, but since I have started working out, regularly taking my supplements, and this is a new one, guys. Yes, I am ultra microdosing a GLP-1 medication, tirzepatide. So I'll talk more about that. But since I have done these three things and incorporated water into a lot of hydration into my daily life, my bowel movements have been the best I would venture to say, in my entire adult life. It's kind of crazy. It has been amazing. And tirzepatide or semaglutide, some of these GLP-1 medications can be known to cause constipation. So I was super worried when I started this that maybe I wouldn't be able to take these medicines because it would cause me to be too backed up. But it kind of the first time I took an injection, well, the first time I took an injection was a nightmare, you guys. I was like, I will never do this again. I was so sick. I mean, and I took a tiny amount and I thought my body just can't handle this. And I didn't for probably 2 to 3 months, I would say, maybe longer, do an injection. But, day in and day out, I hear women tell me how these medications have changed their lives. I mean, I'll have women tell me, I have never felt better in my life. Like, I never want to go without this medicine. Because not only does it help with weight loss, it helps with inflammation. It helps some women's constipation. It helps some women's IBS. It helps some women's I mean, just everything really that you would struggle with in perimenopause. For some people, these drugs are like a miracle drug. I'm not even kidding. So when you hear this on a daily basis, even though you've had a bad experience, you think to yourself, I don't care. I want to try it anyway. I'm going to try it again. So what I did was I took like a half a unit. Like when you draw these medicines up in a syringe, I don't know if you can see on the video screen here, I'm holding up this syringe, but there's the needle. You can see it. If you watch the video on YouTube, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about here. But I'm holding up a needle that you would use to pull up this medication for, and I'll just pull up approximately 10 units. So, like this amount right here, it's maybe like half an inch worth of medicine in this tiny syringe. Okay. That's maybe 10 units of medicine. Okay. The first time I took this medicine, I took I think, like, 4 units maybe, like that much medicine. I mean, like, a quarter of an inch up in the syringe, tiny, tiny amount, and I got so sick, y'all, like, throwing up, puking, was not the same for, like, 3 weeks, okay? Felt a little better over time, but I was like, "I'm never doing this again," okay? But you hear these women day in and day out talk about how amazing this medicine is, it makes you wanna try it again, okay? So I started out at literally, like, you could barely see the medicine in the syringe 1 week, okay? I took that. And I could feel a little difference throughout the week, but I didn't get sick. I really wasn't nauseous. It helped a little. And so the next week I did maybe 1 unit, right? Just a little bit more. The next week I did 2 units. And now I'm up to 5 units. And I feel like this dose is effective for me. It's curbing my hunger. It's curbing cravings. I get a little fuller faster. I'm still eating well. It's helping me make healthy choices. I feel like it's decreased inflammation. I feel like it's helped with my habits. I feel like it's a good dose for me. So I am a proponent. I really am of these medications, even for like perimenopausal women who need some help here. So right now, clinically, we don't have the like if you come to a company and you want these medicines and to be used for what I'm using them for, they're going to tell you no. Like it's not a thing right now. You can't get them. But I really feel like we should make them available for perimenopausal women across the board. Now, are there people who shouldn't have them? Yes. People who abuse them? Yes. But that's with anything, right? I think we're going to have to open the door eventually to see how these medications help women in perimenopause and menopause because let me tell you, it's a game changer. Okay. So I had a little aside there, but I had to tell you guys about that. Okay. So over the past week, I have lost a couple pounds. Over perimenopause, I gained probably 15 pounds. I'm still within a normal weight range, but I was getting to the point where I was uncomfortable. Like, that's not me. So I'm down a couple pounds, which is great. Like, I feel better. Okay. Like, I'm not trying to be a runway model or anything, but I just want to feel like my old self again. So I think that's been helpful. And then I've also, over the last few weeks, like I said earlier, incorporated hormone replacement therapy. I'm doing the estrogen patch. Um, and in addition, I'm doing progesterone at night. So I didn't have a whole lot of experience in HRT, hormone replacement therapy, prior to me going through perimenopause. However, I have learned a lot. And the estrogen patch during the day has pretty much taken away my hot flashes, which is incredible. I feel like my brain fog is a lot better. Um, in addition to that, the progesterone at night helps me with sleep. I'm sleeping so much better. I'm not waking up in a sweat. I am like sleeping through the night for the most part. And that has been huge for me. On top of that, I plan to soon get an Aura ring. If you're not familiar with the Aura rings, they they're kind of pricey. Um, I'm looking toward like Black Friday deals. Unfortunately, the one that I want, of course, has not gone on sale for Black Friday. I'm hoping Black Friday or Cyber Monday, I can find some sort of deal on it somewhere. They're available, from the manufacturer's website, but also from Best Buy, Target. I don't know, Walmart may have them. But I am wanting the ceramic cloud color. And of course, the one I pick out is the most expensive, but that's the one I want. So I'm just kinda waiting to see if they go on sale, but they're very good. The reason I want one is for sleep tracking. I want to see how my sleep is impacted at night right now, and I can't stand to wear my Apple Watch at night to bed. I've tried it. I hate it. I don't like it. So, I have tried sleeping in like the sizing kit for the Aura Ring. So there's like just a ring sizer you can put on, and I slept in it, and it didn't bother me at all. So that is what I am looking to, so we can see how that impacts my sleep. I've read my Bible and prayed almost every day. And I don't say that to be like, look what I did. I say that because for me, that's an accomplishment. Um, and when we're talking about a financial glow up, let me tell you guys, I had a big win and I am proud of myself. I paid off a $6,000 credit card bill last month. So we went to Disney a year or so ago. Maybe not. Maybe it's not been that long. Anyway, um, when we booked the vacation, there was a Disney credit card you could open and you got, benefits with that. You get and in my mind, I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna open this and then I'm gonna pay it off the next month and then whatever. Well, what do you think happens? You start putting everything on the Disney card, it gets higher than you think, and then voila, you have a $6,000 credit card bill that you haven't paid off that you didn't intend to have. So guess what? Last month I busted my butt side hustling. And you're gonna hear me talk a lot about side hustling because it's one of my favorite things. It's a Dave Ramsey thing, and side hustling is extra money that you can use to pay off your debt. And so for my side hustle, I have a nurse practitioner job on the side that I can do and I can make extra money. Well, I worked my tail off and I made the amount of money I needed to pay off that $6,000 credit card bill. So that is wiped out. I'm working on another one this month and I hope to be able to update you about that. But I want you to stay tuned for next week's podcast. It is going to be on how I paid off that $6,000 credit card bill in 1 month. And it's going to go into a lot more detail about that. Um, and I will say one thing I'm bad about is eating out. Okay. Life gets crazy. I'm not perfect. We recently started door dashing. Bad, bad, bad habit to get into. It can be helpful at times if you're super busy and you maybe get a deal or but you have to keep an eye on it. Oh my gosh. It's been so like you get into this habit of it. And then before you know it, you're spending way too much money on it. So that's something that we'll talk about as well. Um, but that's pretty much it, guys. I just wanted to introduce you to this idea of glowing up at the age of 43. It's never too late. We're gonna glow up. I mean, it doesn't matter how old you are. You can be in your 20s, in your 30s, in your 40s, in your 50s, in your 60s, ladies. Glow up with me, okay? Like, let's incorporate some habits. Let's get this train moving in the right direction spiritually, financially, physically. And I can tell you, like, your life is going to be exponentially better because of these habits that you change now. Okay. Is it always easy? No. Was it easy to get up at 4 a.m. today to do this podcast, to do shorts, to record? It was not. It took a lot of planning. But you know what? I'm here. So show up for yourself, subscribe to this podcast, follow me on socials, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and let's do this together. Okay. So thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget next week's podcast, how I paid off a $6,000 credit card bill in 1 month. You don't want to miss it. You all have a great week and tune in on socials, and we'll see you next week.